Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the League of Legends Anonymous podcast. I am a long-lost host, Zill. Just leave it at that. Here tonight with Danger Penguin and a Kristen lady herself, Devil Sniff. Say hello, friends.
Hey, for context, about 45 seconds ago, Blake was like, 3, 2, 1, go. And then we were just sat in silence for like 20 seconds. And Zill was like, welcome to the League of Legends Anonymous podcast.
I think that he forgot he was leading it because he was like started opening something as he was
Nobody would give us that kind of power.
About to kick off. But I think that's perfectly reasonable. I hope you enjoyed your 45 seconds of serenity before you get reintroduced to League of Legends.
Yeah, sorry, I was busy playing with toys.
Oh, wow.
For those of you who can't see, Zill just put on some magnificent glasses that
amazing.
That light up.
Those belong to a ponderous sea lion.
Oh, wow.
Gift, so.
Is that so he can find the clitoris?
Yes. No.
That's why you need the light.
Yes.
Ma! I found it! Bring the kimonos! This calls for celebratory kimonos. God, he's going to be pissed.
Isn't he?
What's up, fellas?
Oh, man. Season 11, baby. In the thick of it.
Yeah. You ready?
In the thick.
It's going to be the best season yet.
I'm going to go ahead and say this. I really do think that they've done the best job ever on being 100% serious. They've tried to rise and climb and all of these thematic elements, right? It's to get you pumped up for the season, to let you know, this is, blah, and they released the cinematic and it was really great. And they've really sort of tied everything together perfectly with this whole Ruined King thing, because they literally ruined the fucking game. Whoever decided to make Ruin the theme of the season, fucking promote him.
Right.
CEO of the fucking company. Holy shit. This is my first game. This is my first ranked game. My Galio spawns in the center of the thing. Never connected. Never bought an item. Never left Fountain. So we're like, okay, cool. It's a remake. Nope. No remake. Rito says, no, this is not a remakeable game. Galio is a contributing member of society.
Okay.
You will lose the first opportunity to get 60 LP in a single game. We will take that from you. And then I play a game with Zill. And the first game we play together, we fucking invade. Boom.
I get first blood.
First blood. Boom. I gank. 3-camp gank. Boom. Another kill. Warwick. Sitting pretty. And then, And
I'm like, hey, Double. My lane opponent isn't here. And, we're like, wait a minute. No. There he is. He's sitting under tower. It's Yon.
Farming.
Yeah.
With items.
Yeah.
And then tell him what happens. You tell him what happens.
He's just sitting there like he's trolling or something. Maybe he's mad that I got first blood, right? Maybe he's trolling his team. Beginning of the season makes sense. People get upset. Nope, he just keeps sitting there. And then all of a sudden, the remake option appears. What? What?
So fucked up.
He went to lane and stood under tower, had bought items.
And farmed.
There's a remake? And you know what he typed into the chat just as there was a remake? He said, wait, what? I was here.
I disagree with you on that.
Really?
What he said was...
What did he say?
You guys are a bunch of pussies for quitting. That's what he said to
my God.
I will remember those. You guys are a bunch of fucking pussies for quitting this game. I was only a minute late.
Jesus.
So Rito, then I saw the Rito developer blog.
And then I never got mid again for the next 4 games, of my placements, which primary role, right? So cool.
I think what my two compatriots here, they have spelled out perfectly what not to do at the start of the season. And what I haven't done yet has played a single placement game because it's fucking miserable in January. You guys are idiots for even queuing for anything. Maybe you could play your flex placements because that doesn't fucking matter. But
Says the guy who was diamond.
And it really mattered to me. Really fucking mattered to me.
I remember you celebrating on this show.
Absolutely. I was soaking it in, and then I got diamond in solo queue, and it didn't matter to me anymore.
His ass was soaking it in because before the podcast, me and Danger queued up in flex, and now they give you a warning: large skill gap.
It was the trolliest thing I've ever seen from Rito. It's just you queue up with a friend, and it says large skill
armor
gap.
from last season isn't enough. we gotta send you a notification that lets you know.
Hey, you sure you want to play with this piece of shit? I don't suggest.
You two friends? Really?
But all joking aside, don't queue up in the first 3 weeks. It's not usually a great idea because Double Sniffed said it perfectly. There's bugs, especially coming off of this preseason where they introduced so much new shit, and then they took 4 weeks off, right? So they may have done a lot of work earlier than that on the items, but I'm sure that they introduced bugs on these half patches and they haven't been around. And they're going to find a lot of them right now. But number two, people fucking suck in January. It's you get people who just tilt off the face of the earth. I haven't played, I think, in the last 3 seasons. I don't think I play a single ranked game in January because I just find I also like to get
To be fair, you don't usually get out of jail till February 3rd or the 4th.
Well, yeah, I mean January 1st is a fun day. So,
you always get a 30-day sentence, so don't come in here all high and mighty.
There's a lot of cool stuff going on, right before January. And then
motherfuckers that I represent, they're like, man, I ain't committed a crime in 7 years. Like, when did you go to prison? 7 years ago. When did you get out of prison? Right before I committed this crime.
Fair, he didn't do anything wrong in prison, which is
that's fair.
Now it's great when they get a speeding ticket because the driving record looks great. Like, and they don't you don't see it on the driving record. You don't look at the criminal record. They're like, man, he hasn't had a ticket in 25 years. Like, yeah, he murdered somebody, and he's been behind bars. Shocker.
Please don't look in the trunk. But no, I usually find the climb early in the season to be very difficult. You get people who try all sorts of weird shit too. I like getting a couple weeks in. You can watch some pro games, get kind of a feel for what they're doing, especially with the build paths. With all the new items, I find it very useful to see what's going on. I'm really disappointed to see some Galio support already in the LPL. That doesn't make me happy because now people are going to know it's a thing, so that doesn't help me at all. I like it better when Galio support's not a thing, and then I pick Galio support. So that's not great news for me. But I do like watching build paths, getting an idea for what other people are playing. I think that really helps in being able to identify what might be your best route for when you start, like your climb.
I will say this, and they did talk about this in the preseason video, that they made a conscious effort to sort of put you closer to where you finished earlier in the season, and that is true because I usually place in Gold 4, and doing well in promos. This season I went 4 and 6 with that fucking bullshit AFK. And, one of those games was an Aurelian Soul who went 0 and 9, who'd never played Aurelian Soul. He was a real treat to play with. He was a great laner. And got like 70, 80 LP in Gold 2. So it's not bad.
Yeah, no, that's not bad at all. And obviously a reminder, there is no interdivisional promos anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're going from Gold 3 to Gold 2, you don't have to worry about that fucking miserable promotion series.
Yeah.
You only have to worry about that when you're making the leap, so when you're jump into gold from silver, jump into plat from gold, etc., etc.
The rub of that is there's also not like protection for demoting, so Blake can go from P4 to G4 in record time this season. Like this,
it's gonna be it's gonna give you whiplash.
It's gonna shave a good 8 or 9 games off of his rapid descent at the end of the season. So
right. So if you ever played Team Fight Tactics and you think you're going to be doing well, and it's going to feel like that when you inevitably fail.
But I like it. I still like the change. I think it'll be better. I'm interested to see the LP gains. I know in preseason those were fucking terrible.
Gains!
And then also I remember all the Twitter comments from like the support team saying it doesn't really matter, it's preseason, and then they just got fucking roasted because they're like trying to, what, do you not want people to play your game because it's preseason? So like literally they had support saying, well, you know, remember, we're trying to work things out and it's preseason, so it doesn't matter, so, you know, like, don't worry about it so much. So I'm hoping that they've corrected a few of those, but that's also why I held off, because I know that they have a lot of background work to do once they get back from their break, right? So it can cause some issues. So I do suggest at least holding off until the first patch after the season starts, because it's a very unusual circumstances you'll run into a lot of the time in that first week.
Yeah, it's shitty. With all, you have all the normal shitty shit, right? But like with these new mythic items, it's opened up a whole new like Pandora's box of delusion. In that people think that they can just play any champion as a support and take Imperial Mandate and do well with it. And when I played Norms or Flex as an ADC, I just get these Maokais that stand 20 feet behind me. All they do is toss a sapling and like, wait till I get Imperial Mandate, man. Wait till it's like, dude, this is not.
No, you know, the game is being played now, and you are not impacted.
Exactly. It's like, and you don't know this. Just like they just read in some Reddit blog that Imperial Mandate supports are broken, so they do it. And like,
and it
avoid
is,
this shit.
But you still need to be able to play the role correctly in the first place. I remember that I watched an LPL game today with an Imperial Mandate Maokai, and at 25 minutes, he was the top damage doer as the support Maokai Imperial Mandate over everyone else on his team because of the way that it stacks right now. So it's not that they're wrong, it's that they're also playing the role terribly, right? Imperial Mandate is fucking broken right now. It's stupid shit. It is getting patched. So in the first patch, it will be nerfed. I hope that really fucking hits it hard, because right now you're supposed to take Imperial Mandate on near every support. So like I'm supposed to take it on Galio right now. I don't want to fucking take it on Galio. That sounds fucking boring and stupid to me. But if I don't, then I'm like trolling. So I'm hoping that the nerf hits and it hits hard, because it's fucking stupid. They are also nerfing something else that you might have found stupid in the preseason, and that's like the Katarina.
That's exactly what I was gonna fucking say. That fucking bitch
with Kraken Slayer. That is being nerfed, as it should be. It's the interaction. There's a few other people who are abusing it too, like Runin's Hurricane Aphelios, in pracking Kraken Slayer. So what it's doing right now is it's procking it on full. So like 100%, and it's supposed to be 33% because it's supposed to be considered an area of effect, and it's not. It's considered a direct damage right now.
Right.
So it's supposed to be 33%. It's currently working at 100%. Do I think that will fix Katarina? I do not. I still think that like the healing's going to be fucking stupid with that build.
And I want to be clear here. Like I'm not. This is the first time I've wanted nerfs. Not for having to fight against it, but I'm tired of playing with teammates that want it because they think it's just freelo and they're shit. And that's the other thing. It's like it spawned this Yasuo syndrome across. It's like Yasuo impregnated like 8 people and had children and spread them throughout the rift. And when I talk about Yasuo syndrome, what I mean is Their Yasuo, our Yasuo. You know, you get a Yasuo on your team, he's 0-9, and he's fucking terrible, and he can't even win all the right way. And the enemy team's Yasuo and the same elo is fucking 45-2, unkillable, godlike. So now you've got that meme has now spread to Samira. It's spread to Katarina. It's spread to Maokai. It's spread to all kinds of Pantheon. Oh my fucking god. Who else?
Ash support right now.
I haven't had. Luckily I've been avoiding that shit. But it's just like, holy shit, man! Like I'm so tired of playing with these people that just don't. Just stick to your guns, man. Just stick to your guns. Like,
if you're
eventually fuck up and buff your champion.
Yeah, if you're in silver or gold, you don't need to chase the meta.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need to like, oh, this is broken, so this is what I'm gonna play, even though I've never played a game of Katarina before. But it's broken, so I should play it. Oh, I've died a lot because I don't know how to play Katarina, because she does take some mechanics, right? And some knowledge about where to go. And so
I think
surprisingly that doesn't work. Yeah.
I mean, like, the thing is, like, she falls into the subcategory of like assassins, but like Katarina is her own archetype in how she operates and how she moves. So it's like, you know, there's really, if like Udyr is super broken and I'm a Warwick main, it's not hard for me to pick up Udyr because it's the same basic concept. I want to get in the middle. I want to hear Danger be like, hey, we need to leave. We need to get out of this fight. We need to get out of this. I'm like, fuck you, Danger. I go in, kill everybody. He's like, oh, I guess we could have won that fight. I am a giant pussy. Like that, you know, that's not a hard transition to make.
It's that skill
gap. I
gap.
pulled that example right out of there. Skill gap.
It's a skill gap. I just, you know, like I shouldn't be playing with you in that elo.
If you're a good Echo or a good Zed, doesn't mean you're going to be a good Katarina just because she's an assassin. Like, right. It's just, it's too nuanced of an archetype, and she's so unique in the way that she moves around the map. It's like you need to have a baseline of skill on the champ to even abuse it. And like, fuck those people. Don't. Fuck Katarina. God, it's so shameful that I can't ban her because I have to use all of my bans this season on Akali. That's really my only goal. That's my one goal.
You're doing it wrong. The name's Samira, and I haven't seen her. I haven't seen her in 3 months.
Exactly, and then she's everywhere.
Not if you ban her.
Oh my god, I have to ban Akali. I just have to. But
don't worry, I think Akali's getting a buff.
Oh, good. Are you serious?
No, I think she's on the nerf list.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Triggered.
To the ground. Fuck, man. Yeah, Samira's came out of hibernation this winter. I didn't see them at all in preseason, and now they're just like, they're just here. I think they've all been playing on the Latin American network.
Consistently high, though, right? Like, that's why you haven't seen her?
I think it's, yeah, the ban rate's been insane, like during preseason, and, you know, in Korea, I know in Diamond Plus, the ban rate's over 180% for Samira.
Jesus Christ.
So the champion, I think the only time you don't see it banned, double banned, is when someone's hovering it first, and they're like, okay, we won't ban it, and then it gets banned, and they're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's the one time I've let Akali in. That's the one thing. If I have an Akali and we're first pick, I'll be nice. But
like you did the other day, and then they switched characters.
Oh my god, fucking
You're so
I hate Akali. It's just the worst. It's the worst experience in League of Legends.
How do you guys think the items have actually landed, though? In besides obviously some needing tuning still, how do you think they're landing this season?
Go ahead, Zil.
It seems like damage overall is just amped up across the board. Everything is more deadly. You die way faster. I don't know that I've seen enough utility out of the new items that I'd like. I don't know. It's all right. Yeah, there's a few, and there's things that are broken need to be tweaked. But it usually ends up being with certain champions that can abuse it, as we've already stated. I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, why does Gale Force need to shoot 3 bolts out when you dash? Like, isn't it enough that you just gave... Like, couldn't you change the cooldown and just give an ADC a dash? Because that's what it does, right? But instead, you also have to add bonus damage on it, so that I guess you're encouraging them to dash in or something. You know, like
the flow is nice. The slow is nice.
Why not
And that's the thing,
increase
is
the
like-
slow? Why not increase the slow and have it actually work the opposite direction that you're moving? Because in theory, an ADC should be dashing away and should not be dashing in, right?
I use it as Udyr too, so it's I'm in a weird niche.
Right, yeah. I mean, because you don't like Stride Breaker, is that why? Because it's not enough.
It's not as good a dash, and there's no slow.
Yeah, and I think that's Zill's point, right? It's just things are being added, and I guess I was hoping that the new items would really change up ideas of play style.
Right.
And what they've just done is been like, okay, now when you hit every 40 seconds with Night Harvester, it hits harder, right? But that's not going to change my play style. I'm still going to go in and attack you.
The game is not more interesting. It's just I'm dead faster, or they're dead faster.
Right. And there's, like, yes, there's games where I'm like, okay, I need
and the game doesn't have to be more interesting necessarily, but the idea of changing it constantly is so that it will be more interesting, right? Like that's the entire purpose, is to keep it fresh. Yeah.
And I think that just adding damage to items, like I don't even know if like Rocket Belt needs damage on it, like, right? So like the people who take it are like engage mages or something like that want to get in there and fight it out, right? So you could instead of like you could put on Rocket Belt something like a shield or something, so that you're tankier when you go in, right? So that you can survive burst. I guess I'm saying I agree with your point. There's other options for these items than just straight damage, and like it's they're just in kind of a weird spot. I mean, they're powerful. Don't get me wrong, they're powerful. Buy them. They're important items to buy. So I was interested to watch, like Pro Play to say, like, do they build another item first, or do they build the mythic first? And almost across the board, they build the mythic first. And now what you have is you have them funneling gold into one person to try and get the first mythic, and then they can win the first team fights because they have that mythic. And what you're normally seeing that on is the ADC, and what you're normally seeing is Gale Force or Kraken Slayer. And that's like a big power spike that teams are hunting for, so that you can take first Drake, you can take the first Herald, right? And that's what they're trying to do. And so you'll see support roam away so that the ADC gets all the gold, right, and all the experience. So it's interesting what they've done with it, but I do think that the mythic items right now currently don't offer the interest that I was hoping that they would hit.
I think it's also exacerbated a problem that hasn't been fixed, which came when they switched runes and masteries. You've got a thing like Phase Rush on Vladimir and on Rise, and all of these champions that are supposed to be immobile mages like Orianna, and you give them Phase Rush, which is a tool for them to overcome what's supposed to be the biggest deficit in their power budget. And now there's just a whole slate of items that can further exacerbate what are supposed to be built-in weaknesses to the characters, so that they have these insane, positives and very mitigated negatives.
I was thinking, I don't know. Do you think Phase Rush is just in the wrong tree? Like, if we put it somewhere else, would that fix the problem?
Switch it to melee champions.
Yeah.
And Graves. Like, Graves can have it. Like, I'm fine with Graves having. Graves should have Phase Rush.
I mean, Phase Rush basically works on everyone right now. And I think that's the big issue, is like it's always a viable second choice. Or first choice, right? You can take it on Skarner. You can take it on, like immobile mages. You can take it on someone who needs a stick on you more, like a Darius or something like that, right? You can literally take Phase Rush on near everyone, which is kind of what they were going for, right? We want runes to be useful, but I think the problem is that they undervalued the power that it provides. I think it needs maybe if you want a burst of speed and you want to give that to someone, it needs less time, right? That you shouldn't be able to proc it and then run away from literally anyone, right? It'd be like if you wanted to be a burst of speed, be like you get a kick of speed for 0.5 seconds, right? Or I think that's one of the because you see it all the time. okay, I proc my phase rush just so I can run away from you. And you can't catch them for the fucking life of you. I don't care if you got mobility boots and they're like standing still. Like you're still not going to catch them because of what it procs. It's a difficult ability to balance, and I think they struggled with it. And I think I don't know a good solution to the phase rush issue. I mean, it would be interesting if you moved at trees, maybe the inspiration or something.
I think it should be in the inspiration tree. That's actually what I was going to say. One is the weakest tree right now, I think.
Oh yeah.
And that tree is all about rule breaking, right? And so why not have it on, champions to rule break with, like those mages? Except they'd have to take away from the power budget of all the other wonderful options in that sorcery tree.
I think that's a good idea, and it kind of relates back to the whole weapons thing. Is that we're seeing part of the problem is we're seeing power budget creep on both champion design, rune design, and item design, and it's creating very snowbally games. I'm hoping that the professional scene exposes this. I'm hoping that these games just aren't good to watch, because whoever wins the first fucking fight, whoever makes the first mistake is just going to get pummeled into the ground. That's what I'm hoping for, so that somebody can take a look and say, hey, there's not a lot of back and forth. You know what I mean? Unless there's just outright throws or outright people just trolling, which I don't expect to see much of.
With that thought, you know what average game time is right now?
Hey Siri.
Honestly,
I think I remembered in preseason they said that the average. I think they said that the average game time hadn't decreased significantly.
Had not.
So they because of that, they thought that they hadn't introduced that level of snowball. My interest would be is how many games are lost and then still continue on past the mark, right? So if you just have like assholes not surrendering, or you have assholes who just want to take every Drake and Baron instead of just ending the game. I think
and that happens all the way up until Diamond. The only way you're going to get a good example of that is in pro play if they're ending the game properly.
Right. So like I want to
excluding surrenders. It goes. I'll just give it in iron. It's 29.5. Bronze is 31.46. Silver's 31.40. Gold is 30.54. 29.53 in platinum, 28 minutes, 28 seconds in diamond, 27, 28, 28.
So those are actually increased.
That's it, excluding surrenders.
Right. So that's actually increased over last season, because I'm pretty sure last season in plat it was something like 26.50 or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
So it was but it doesn't feel that way, right? And sometimes we've talked about what the stats say, but also it matters like what the experience is telling you, right? So if you talk to the average league player right now, and I read it all the time on Twitter, it doesn't feel like a longer game, or like a game that you have a shot in, right? So it may be going longer, maybe it's harder to push things down quick enough. That doesn't actually give you a chance to win the game if you're still down 10K gold, right? The game's already decided. And
I feel more like I got a lucky break rather than, if I come back, rather than doing something effectively to be able to hold on and then scale or whatever.
Right.
It feels like this to me. It's like if I hired a prostitute for a whole hour and we're done doing what I want to do in the first 15 minutes and she won't leave. And we got to spend this 45 minutes of just, that's what league games are over in 15 minutes. And you just get people that won't forfeit, or you get the other thing where it's like, hey, we've got a Katarina on our team. We just need to get her. She's 0-19 right now, but she's 300 gold away from her Kraken Slayer. And when she gets that, it's done. Or Samira, who's 0-45, but she just needs one team fight to fucking just to wipe out everybody like a fucking hurricane. You know what I mean? And that's why I think games are dragging on too, is because you've got these, hey, we've got a champ who just doesn't do well at all because I don't know how to play them, but if I get enough items and we hold off long enough, the instant fact that they're so fucking broken that it doesn't matter what I do, I can just take my head and pound the fucking keyboard and win the game.
Right.
Is dragging them on.
But
No.
the feel's not good, and I think that's
It feels
important.
terrible.
Yeah.
It feels horrible. And I mean, especially for me, like the biggest thing that pisses me off is Riot a few weeks ago was like, we're gonna help out the Tiamat junglers. It's like, where did that happen? Was that guy
Where's that stimulus?
the guy in charge of that on like an Indonesian plane flight or something? Plane flight, you know, was he in a Malaysian flight? Where is he? Where is this guy? When does that land? Like, where's he going? Like, I haven't gotten any help. Rengar and Warwick are fucking worthless right now. Like, it's so impossible to get to work a team. I still have to build a fucking Sunfire Aegis first. And it just makes the clears really, really difficult when Krugs and Raptors are so important, especially Krugs.
Especially Krugs now.
So crazy to not be able to. If you don't have AoE, like, it's so insane. On the other item that is, I'm glad I said that because now I remember what I was going to bitch about. Fucking Duskblade. Fucking Duskblade is insane. It's fucking insane.
So there's that utility you're looking for, Zill, right? You know,
it's in the 80 stuff, not my API.
You wanted utility like true invisibility, you know, like everyone, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like Kha'Zix, who can already turn fucking invisible for his cooldowns. So, I'm invisible. Oh, I kill you. I'm free invisible again. Oh, I'm back. Oh, now my aura again. I'm invisible. Double invisible.
Invisible veins, invisible yees.
Fucking like
exactly everything.
The invisible yee is fucking miserable.
There's a comedian named David Cross who used to make fun of George W. Bush, and that's how old I am. Is that I remember stand-ups who made fun of George W. Bush when he was president, and he had this big thing about double visible. I take my invisibility, I put it on you. I'm double visible. You do invisible. And now I know what he was talking about. He was the prophet of fucking
Duskblade.
It's terrible on Kha'Zix, and it's absolutely insane on Pyke. Because if he gets his fucking execute, he's just gone. Like, he just shows up, ka-ching, and disappears. And then he's over here, ka-ching.
The cash register drawer closed.
He literally yells out,
and then Pyke is gone forever.
He just fucking X's you, and it's done, and you can't see him. And then guess what? He gets to turn invisible again.
Pyke now needs.
I'm visible again. Oh, don't worry. I have another invisibility that I can use. And a decoy. So that you can't possibly know which one is me. It's just crazy. Just make that camouflage or something. Like, give us a way to
make it camouflage. I think
make it camouflage. Really it's so easy. It's so obvious. Yeah. It's a perfect fix. That way, you have to go back out of range so that you're not seen, and then come back in. You can even increase the timer that you're camouflaged, right?
Yeah.
Because that way, if you're standing next to 4 people, your camouflage doesn't.
Then there's outplay potential. Right? Then there's skill expression.
Yeah.
The things that Riot seems to value, right?
I've seen Duskblade like everything that exists. I saw a Duskblade Volibear that was a fucking monster. He comes out of nowhere, eats your face, and then disappears. And then reappears, slamming your fucking turret so that it's just not able to attack anyone, kills you, and then disappears. I mean, like, so I enjoyed that. Like, the fucking, like, people just, oh yeah, this ability it's the same, like you said with Gale Force, right? So you take Gale Force on someone that it doesn't belong on at all, right? Because it adds the utility that you're looking for. And I think that's a miss in design, right? Because the Imperial Mandate, it was supposed to be for one thing. What it's turned into is the top damaging item in the game on a Maokai who throws a goddamn sapling, right? They're like that was your purpose? Was that the goal? Is that what you wanted? No, it's not. Oh no, that's not what I wanted either. Because it's fucking saplings, it hits the Imperial Mandate, and then it explodes, and then it triggers the Imperial Mandate, and then it has that fluctuation of damage, so then it hits the Imperial Mandate, makes it active again, and then it hits it again with another.
Shit, I didn't know that.
That's why it hits like a fucking truck, is because if you run into a sapling that's in the bush, it procs 4 times. Damage, proc, damage, proc.
Ah, see, my Maokais are so shitty they never get to the point where we actually get the fucking mandate.
Right.
Because we get shithoused in lane because it's a 1v2 lane because they're fucking pussies and they don't root.
Yeah,
And they don't
and
do
the funny
anything
thing is it does make him very squishy. So like then you'll have the people who think that they're a tank because they're Maokai, and then they fly in there and then they just explode. So it is not easy to play Imperial Mandate Maokai well, but if you do, you will be a fucking terror, right? So you do need
for a
some
week, for another week.
right, yes, for one more week, and then hopefully this Imperial Mandate issue is fixed, because I think if Riot wasn't sure about the nerf, watching the LCK game today where the Maokai had done like 2 times the damage of the ADC, didn't have any kills either, just fucking just did so much damage, like because he just threw a sapling into a bush.
Dude, the Ivern Maokai combo.
Ooh.
Ivern puts the bush down. Maokai just throws saplings into it.
There you go.
Walks through.
Free low.
Abuse it for a week. Enjoy.
So that's where I think, there's just so many tools to snowball the game. They haven't fixed Tiamat's. They just need to go back to their fundamentals and realize that they have left a good 30 to 40 champions just in the dust, and either decide that they're going to make them viable or do what will never happen, which is make season 11 the first season of League of Legends 2. And just like, that's really what this feels like. It just feels like I'm trapped in, I'm playing Mario 1 with my little fire flower versus people with Mario 3, and they got the raccoon technology. We got
Right.
They got the hammer tossing technology. They got all kinds of. They got Super Nintendo shit.
Yeah, and they can actually go backwards on their screen.
Yeah,
and
Super Zelda Link beats the shit out of Nintendo Link every time, and that's what it feels like. It's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that. So I guess we could talk a little bit about the new champions, right? Samira, worst champion ever designed. Fucking miserable. I won't see her for a long time until she has her kit fixed. But then they brought out Rel, right? And I don't think Rel's in a terrible spot. I did see her in pro play today. The casters were saying I would rather have Leona than Rel. But they were like, why don't you just take Leona here? It's way better than Rel. But Rel had a purpose, and they used her pretty well. I think I saw 1 win, 1 loss with Rel. She doesn't seem busted. Her alt is useful without being crazy. And I think the one ability on her that might get crazy is her stun, right? Because of how much area it stuns around a person as well as stunning in between. When you attach I think that could end up causing some problems. But the engage is strong. She's tanky. She has a different play pattern. I actually think that Rel has landed okay so far.
Best champion release in years, in terms of like releasing a product that could actually probably use a little bit of a nudge. Like, honestly, like, if they buffed Rel, I would be like, okay, whatever, especially her ult. Her ult feels weak.
Right. Yeah. Like if they gave her ult like something that I guess I'm not 100% positive, but right now it just pulls people in. Right. It's not doing any damage, is it?
The pull is sort of weak. People can just walk out of it.
Yeah. It doesn't have like a strong enough field.
I don't know. I also really liked her champion identity too. Like, she's different than everything else that's come out so far. She doesn't have a clone champion that she looks like, right? Like fucking Seraphine. And I don't know, like in general, a Noxian champion, you'd expect something. You're like, okay, we know what archetype you're going for, but no, they went for something completely different. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. So right now her ult does some magic damage. I actually wish instead of like some magic damage, it would like make her tankier, right? Like kind of like play into her role a little bit more. But like you guys said, I think that she's landed pretty well. Have you guys seen? I guess I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Vigo or Vigo?
The Ruiner. Oh my fucking god.
Okay, is his animation like attack animation just like Echo's? Like, it looks remarkably similar to me. Is that the leak?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they have his whole kit leaked now.
He's on the PBE.
Yeah.
Oh, he's on the okay.
So I bet this is going to be very difficult for them to balance. When your passive is when someone dies around you, you can take their items and their body and use their Q, W, E, and all of their abilities except for their R.
Did you take their items? I didn't know you took their items.
You take their items because you don't want to use your own items if you're an ADC and
That's true.
like right. So so literally if you kill like a 5-0 person in a fight, anyone does, and all you have to do is have damage on them if you're him, then you can click on that body, get that person and all of their items.
I just want to know if he builds Blade of the Ruin King. That's all I care about.
He does have an ability called Blade of the Ruin King.
Yeah, he gets a mini Blade of the Ruin King as a passive on his Q.
Yep.
Okay.
Does 4%, I think. So but he can also buy Blade of the Ruin King, and I think he would.
Okay. I think it would be cool thematically if he could not buy it, but he would take it from somebody who had it. Right?
Oh,
like, this is mine.
His passive would be he would just spawn with it. Like he just spawns with the Blade of the Ruin King.
Sure.
Like that
doesn't get an R, just starts
and he
with an
gets 500 gold. Like he just comes to fountain. Poof. All right, I have my Bork. I have 500 gold.
I am the King of England. Right.
But no, I think the design, like, I feel like Riot likes pushing these boundaries, right? And they can obviously do it as their company. I just find it. I feel like each time, like it's like they're sitting in a room with like, oh yeah, well I'll make it so the ult has no cooldown and she has a wind wall around her whole body, and he's like, oh god, how am I going to beat that? Oh, I know. When she dies, I become her for free, and it only costs my passive. You'd be like, well, you win this round, asshole. Like
you get a free ult out of it too, because like once you're in somebody's body, you get an ult.
Isn't this somewhat like the Sandra passive though? Kind of. Yeah, I mean, you have to pilot it, so it's not.
Pilot it.
So you do have to have a good knowledge of the game, right? Because if you take control of someone's body that you've never used before, then you're going to be shitty, right? But you don't have to. For one, you don't have to take their body. Like you can take it, get a free ult, and then leave it right away, right? So you can also do that. I feel like Riot is like, like when you're a kid and you're like, oh yeah, well I'm gonna shoot you with my ray gun, and be like, well I'm sorry, but I have ray gun protection on, so it doesn't do anything, right? That's what they're like doing right now, like between like the teams creating champions. They're like, oh yeah, well I'm gonna make it so I can ult across the whole place. Oh yeah, well my ult doesn't cost anything. It was like, oh yeah, well my ult is now my passive. Ooh, fuck. And I get a free ult when I cast my passive, so it's like a double ult. I double ulted your single ult.
Here's the big brain play. The big brain play is to absolutely feed the new champ to the ends of the earth. Make sure he gets all the gold. He's like 27-0. The rest of the team gets nothing. And then you send your frontline tank into him, but he sells all of his items. Kills him. He's fucking weak as shit. You just pounce on him then.
Yeah, if it made him get it and he had like a cooldown, that would be fucking balanced, right? You're like forced to take over the body of someone you kill, so you have to be very careful about who you assist and get the kill.
I think that's how it works.
No, you can click on the dead body. So it becomes like this glowing. It's like this glowing like corpse. And so if you click on it, then you can become them.
I don't know. I like it if you don't have a choice.
Yeah, no, that would be way
cool. That's way more fun.
Yeah.
And then it's like no matter what, you have like a 10-second cooldown where you have to stay them. But if you die as them, you're dead. That would be punishable.
Yeah.
What happens if he clicks on Karthus while he just clicks on Karthus and then Karthus dies?
But no, I bet you he's going to be a big problem. At least his sword looks like really stupid. Like it's like
Thank you. I thought you were about to. It's so stupid.
It's like the most childish thing. They're like, oh, I'm gonna have a sword with 8 prongs off of it. Oh,
and I'm gonna hold it with prongs. Like there's no. It's.
I haven't seen it. I remember it looking like Kylo Ren's kind of. Is that where we're at?
Okay, there's 2 sets of Kylo Ren.
It's a dumber Kylo Ren.
Quillins is what
Kylo
the appropriate term would be.
Pretty dumb already. So like
it is incredibly stupid the way he holds the sword. And if we saw that in real life, we would laugh at him, mock him.
And then he'd take your dead corpse.
You wouldn't kill anybody holding a fucking sword like that. That's a fucking noob.
Oh,
fucking idiot.
Yeah, so I'm nervous for their release schedule for Champions because they seem really focused on it now, right? Before it seemed like they were, they were doing a lot of remakes, which was good. I mean, not great because then you got things like Akali, but at least you're trying to update. Like you said, it feels like 30 or 40 champions have just been left in the dust, and
Oh,
they're
he
just.
looks like the Crow.
He does look like the Crow.
Yeah, like I want him to like speak like terrible poetry and shit. It's gonna be great.
But yeah, so it seems like they're really focused on releasing a lot of new innovative champions right now, and they're just leaving a lot of other champions like, all right, you can be in the dust. We don't really care.
Actually, yeah, Justin Bieber as the Crow. That's what it is.
That would explain why he's holding that stupid ass sword where he is.
Yeah.
Because that's what you want. You want obstacles. When you got a double-handed sword, you want as many things in here to impede your ability to like block and move around.
In fact, I think there is a picture of Justin Bieber that looks exactly like this. I'm going to find it eventually.
Post it onto the Discord.
Yeah, I'm going to look through my catalog of Justin Bieber photos. Hang on. Well, what else, boys?
What do you think about the LCS stuff, Danger? You excited for the season? I mean, I don't know what else to talk about, and I know this isn't like Zill's cup of tea, but do you even watch the LCS, or you just watch the Asian?
I do watch the LCS. I like the LPL more. It's a lot better games. I think you have you have like 3 strong teams, and then like 17. Well, I guess 5 teams that won't be good, and then 2 that have like mailed it in, right? So,
who do you think mailed it in?
Dig. I don't even know if they've got a roster. Oh my god, this roster is really something. Dignitas has Fate God at top, Dardoch at jungle, Soligo at mid, Neo at ADC, and Aframu at support. They have the first all NA team that's ever existed, I think. Like, they don't have any imports on their team. So they're like, we're not spending more than $400 on this team. And then, you guys let me know. Do you want to play professional League of Legends? Well, we only got like $30 to give you. And you're like, okay, come on. You guys can stream too. You can make a lot of money streaming. I don't think I've ever read a worse team.
I mean, Dardoch alone. You had me at Dardoch.
What about Soligo? I mean, like, he's been trying to find purchase for 6 years. Like, I don't know. That team's just fucking awful. In my opinion, the good teams are 100 Thieves, C9, and
Liquid.
Yep, those 3.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Sorry, I just hadn't got them to them.
Not TSM.
No, not TSM. I don't think TSM has a great team. I think that they've covered their handcuff, right? So their top is Huni, who we saw. He's a coin flip. He's either monster or trash. And then their ADC is lost.
No, their spring split ADC is lost.
Right, but so
Devil's coming back. He's coming back, baby.
On their academy team, they knew that they're not sure about their top and their ADC. They have Haunter on their academy team, which makes a lot of sense, right? If you're trying to grow talent, you want someone who's been around 8 years, because you're going to grow that talent. But then their ADC is Cody's son. So, it's not an academy team. It's like, we know these 2 might actually suck, so we have to guard for that. Now, don't get me wrong. I bet Sword Art alone will drag them to a bunch of wins. For those who don't know, they got Sword Art, who did play in the finals last year for SN, Suning Gaming. So he is obviously an excellent player. It's worked out well for Team Liquid with Core JJ. Because support is such a strong role. But Power of Evil, I like him mid. I've always liked Power of Evil. I think that he's strong. I'm not sold on Spica.
I've never been sold on Spica. I do not understand people's obsession with this jungler.
A lot of people like him.
I've never understood. I've asked people to explain to me why they think he's a good jungler. I just don't get it.
He might be good at the start of the season because I am seeing a ton of Nidalee, which is he's been one of the top Nidalee players in NA. Like, I mean, if he brings out that Nidalee, across any ocean, it's going to suck. But in NA, it's been good. So, but no, I put TSM in the. We're trying for like 4th, 5th, and 6th, and we might end up surprising people, right? If Huni regains his old form or something like that.
I think Huni's gotten a bad rap. Number one, I think people hated Huni because Huni got like an absurd amount of money, right? He got like what, 3 million or something?
Yeah, 3 mil.
Yeah, see, the counter argument that I have to that is that from what I read, he didn't have an agent. Like, he negotiated that shit himself. So,
but don't get me wrong, Huni's a
I'm
baller.
impressed by that motherfucker.
Huni's a baller, but his play last season was not a mil worth, right?
No. I mean, but that's the thing. I mean, I think they're asking him to do things. I think this is going to be a roster that'll either expose him or elevate him, because like I think he's going to be in a situation where he can play more free without being like, when you put that kind of target on your back, you're expected to carry all the games, and people are like, oh, you've got to carry. And you force jungle attention to him, and like that's not something you want to have. You want to be able to have free flowing stuff and pressure. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, TSM will be interesting. They're in that middle core of teams that could fluctuate anywhere from being decent to not making playoffs, right? You have your two bottoms. You Dignitas obviously won. Do you know the other?
I would say Golden Guardians.
It is. Now, I respect Golden Guardians, though. They came out and they said, hey, we didn't get the money we were expecting because of
there's no basketball. Because there's no fucking basketball.
And so then all of a sudden their budgets were just cut to shit. But at least what's cool about it is that they just came out and said it. They're like, our budgets were cut to shit. We love our players. We're going to try and keep them together. So 100 Thieves is now Golden Guardians East.
2.0.
Right? Yeah. Only instead of they kept 4 people, Huhi, FBI, Demonte, and Closer. And then they just happen to throw in Someday into top now. Right? So instead of Hanser, now you have Someday. Right? So Someday has been a top 3 top laners.
I don't see it.
Really?
I mean, everybody says this about him, like he's this insane top laner. I just, maybe it's because he's just been on such shit teams.
Dragging Ryoma along. He's like, come on, Ryoma, we can win this game. No, don't do that now.
And they did have Cody-san on their team, which is just a fucking cancer.
Yeah. No, and then remember the revolving door at jungle. They had the Dardoch experiment for a while, right? And it's just someday I think you'll see really fucking flourish.
I'm looking forward to seeing someday. I'm really looking forward to seeing Alfari. What's his name?
Alfari top is he went to Team Liquid.
I'm really looking forward to seeing him, and I want to see what Licorice can do. On FlyQuest.
On FlyQuest, absolutely. Yep. I like FlyQuest team. It's because I like Johnson, right? That's the homegrown 80s talent that I think might be really good.
He was like the rising upstart until FBI came and just snatched the entire spotlight.
Yep. And then Josie Dodo.
I'm looking forward to seeing that motherfucker. He was insane at Worlds.
I think he'll be really good. My big question marks on FlyQuest are Palafox and Diamond. Right?
Yeah. Yeah,
so that's what would hold them back. As we said, Gold Guardians, they dumped their whole roster because they couldn't afford them. So they have a very cheap roster. People you've never heard of. A lot of academy players they're giving chances, which I respect. Right? They're just like, hey, you know what? These guys were in academy. They're young. Let's see what we can do. So they have a Blaze Olive mid who's been wanting a shot for I want to say like 2 years now. They have Newbie at support, Iconic at jungle, Niles at top, and then they brought in that one, old guy to kind of help out in Stixay on ADC. They're not going to be good, but at least I like what Golden Guardians is doing. It's not like Dignitas who just threw in the towel and didn't tell you why.
They were the contenders. They were the ones for they. I listened to an interview with the Golden Guardians, GM or whatever, right? Either the owner or the GM, whatever. There's so many weird titles, like the director, vice president of player operations for the Golden State Guardians. And he was basically saying they had the money, they had the contract, they were getting Licorice, and they were going to keep their players in place. And then, like, literally 15 minutes before they're about to call Licorice's agent, like, they got a call from Golden State, was like, hey, we're cutting your budget. Like, sorry, there's no money in the NBA. We're cutting your budget. And they had to pivot. And, like, I think long term it could still be really viable for them, because the way I look at them is they're kind of like a college basketball program. You know what I mean? Like, when your college basketball program starts to be like Duke or Kentucky when they had Calipari. I don't know if you all know a lot of sports, but, like,
I do.
You know,
I lived in Kentucky for a year, so I found out all about that.
They get, you know, when your college program gets a reputation for creating these superstar pros, you attract more college kids to your program. And I think what's going to happen is if Golden Guardians can take, I mean, like, FBI was a no name.
And so was Closer. Closer
was a no name. All these people are no names. So
he came in and they fucking played great. So I agree. That's why I like what Golden Guardians do is they find a way to find talent and then get the most out of them.
Well, if they continue to do that, if they can do that for round 2, they're not going to have to look for talent.
No, they're going to run to them. Yeah.
Talent's going to want to come to them and be like, hey, we know you guys are this great farm system for, like, professional. And then all you have to do is, once you get your money and you get the players in place, unlike college basketball where people automatically age out or automatically go to the pros, you just put together a roster that you've grown yourself, you treat them right. And then when they want to get paid, maybe they take a hometown discount, and you can put together, like, you can keep your superstars and make a run in 2 or 3 years.
And once basketball's up and running again, I bet Golden Guardians gets the money because you know, like, they have a cash cow over there. We would be remiss if we didn't bring up Perks to Cloud9.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
you guys down Clark Perks?
They got
Perks. What are they doing with Sven?
He's playing too.
I'm kidding.
So you have Vulcan, Sven, Perks, Blabber, and then Fudge. Fudge is replacing Licorice because Oceanic is now considered homegrown talent, which makes sense because it works better over there than it does over here. But the whole reason
they
got
moved to NA is because their office was already in North America. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's just the Riot employee that was in charge of managing this whole area also managed Oceanic. So they're like, we'll just lump it into NA so that we don't have to run another fucking office.
Yeah, and apparently, I was surprised when they dropped Licorice, but apparently Fudge is just an absolute fucking monster, and he would have been starting already in the league last year, except for he didn't count as a resident, right? It's because he didn't. So, in all essence, you think that team got better. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping Perks can show a real form, and it's not just coming here as a retirement. I think he's too competitive to do that. I think he wants to, come here and blow some shit up, but who knows, man? He got paid, I think, $5 million or something insane to come over here. So Cloud9.
Well, Carlos got paid. I don't know how much Perks got paid. Carlos got fucking paid.
For sure. Carlos always gets paid.
For real. But, like, going back to that, it's like in professional soccer, the American Soccer League always gets, like, the retired European superstars, like, come over here. And when you were talking about Dignitas, it made me think that, like, that's where the retired American stars go. It's like Landon Donovan is now playing for the Detroit Kickerballers. Team we've never heard of. It's the only American player I know.
You get Beckham? Yep, we got Beckham. He's 48. We got
Sixay. He's here at the Tampa Soccer Club organization.
So, I think 100 Thieves, Cloud9, and Team Liquid, those are your top. And for those wondering, Broxa is no longer your jungle. Santorin is, and that's why they were able to get Alfari, Jensen, Tactical, Core, JJ, all the same.
That's a sick squad. That's going to be a sick squad.
It's a very, very good team. I'll be interested to see how Alfari plays, but I love Santorin in the jungle. Always have, always will.
Santorin's the best jungler in NA, very underrated.
I think he's just so solid. So those are your 3 top teams. CLG, who I hate. I've always hated CLG. I think they're a fucking joke. They actually have a ton of players I like, though, which makes it very difficult.
Who? Pobelter? What else do they have? Who else do they have? I
hate Pobelter. Fucking hate him. Think he's trash.
Wow.
as a person, I like Broxa. I think that he's just like the classiest individual you could possibly be.
Strong jawline. Real
Great
nice
jawline.
Nice jawline on that guy.
He's just like, I followed him since Fnatic. I know his champ pool sucks. I know it's like very limiting, but I think that he's just like a great person, so I like him. I've always liked Wild Turtle, even back when he was just being stupid, flashing in and dying. Like I just
it was good last year.
He was good last year. And I'm interested to see Finn on CLG, but I still don't want them to do well because they're on CLG. So like they've made it complicated for me because I like a lot of their players. But Evil Geniuses, they picked up Ignar, who I think is a monster at support. They're still starting Jizuki. And then you have Deathly, Svenskeren, and Impact. Now getting Impact and Svenskeren is a definite upgrade for them. So that team could be good. Depending on,
I think Jizuke is better than Golden Glue. Is who they were playing before, right?
So they started Jizuke. They had issues with him. Then they went to Golden Glue. Now they're back to Jizuke. I agree, obviously better than Golden Glue, but
Jizuke just does his.
Golden Glue is a coach for someone now, right? He's coaching someone's academy team. I think 100 Thieves. I think he's coaching their academy team now. He's a coach.
And a Silver Glue now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Got demoted.
But so they have an interesting team. Immortals is the other one that's going to be vying for last.
Guys, I figured it out. Okay, so Justin Bieber's cross tattoo is exactly the same as the Ruined King's sword.
So do you think he like manifests it? Like, does it come off of his cross, like his body, and then he can wield it? That's a very anime thing that would occur.
It has to be inspired by him in some fashion. That's where
someone watched a lot of Bieber videos and was like, you know what would be a really cool sword? That cross.
No, I'm fucking posting this in general. Like this is serious. All right, hang on. Yeah, you guys go on. I'll post it.
All right.
I'm about wrapped up. I mean, I think we hit most of the stuff. I'm excited for the new season. 5 games a day for 3 days. I've still said this. I think Riot needs to. They need to make a Sports Center show and let us watch highlights that have some kind of analysis, so that I don't have to watch like just copy and pasted highlights from people's YouTube streams, like with no context. Like, we've got a bunch of new players in the league. We've got a lot more games to talk about. Educate me about who these people are and tell me why I should think that they're good or why I should keep playing them, because as more marquee players that people came up with are disappearing, you're going to have to educate your public, or they're going to find other things to watch.
And they've gotten such higher ratings, you know, like in the past like 2 years. There's no reason not to have something like that.
Exactly.
And then you have a fucking one that covers LEC, because a lot of people like that, and then one that covers LPL.
I would love that
LCK.
shit, man.
You know, like, so like a lot of what I watch on LPL is highlights, right? So I'll watch just the highlights of what happens, but that doesn't give me context. It's just because I don't have time in the day to watch every LPL game, because all of theirs are best of 3 and they play every day of the week. So,
and you know, you could live stream that shit on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday when there's no games going on, and people would fucking watch that shit.
They absolutely
put it on Twitch. Let people subscribe. You know, there's all kinds of room for better content out there. Like the one thing I would love to see is they used to do this on the soccer channel was Fan Zone. Like, they would take English Premiership games, right, and they would replay them, and they would let a fan from each team. They were sitting in a room together casting the game. And you know, when you get the rivalries, it's great, but like, you get these people that know their team sucks. And like, oh Lord, I know it's just going to be a fucking shit. And it's like, we knew this was going to happen, you know? Yeah, I mean, but they're authentic, you know what I mean? Like, they support their club, they know their club sucks. But it would be cool to watch a game recast with just 2 random fans, like a TSM fan and a TL. It's like, oh, get shit on, Bears. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of stuff going on like that. I would watch the shit out of that. I think that would be fun.
There's a lot of good opportunities for content with it. With the especially their new format, like you said, there's so many more games, which I think is the right move. I think more games is better for them, but you need a way to condense those games for the people who can't watch them all, right?
Yep.
A lot of people are just watching their teams, and honestly, with how many games there are, I might have to, you know, like, not watch as many games as I've been able to. Like, before, when it's 10, I would watch the ones that I like the most, like the 2 or 3 most important games, and then I'd watch the other ones throughout the week. So it like it's going to be tough to do that now. But yeah, I think it'll be an exciting season. I think you have a few cream of the crop teams, you have 3 terrible teams, and then you have a lot of in the middle, and something always surprises you. So it'll be interesting to see it play out.
Somebody in the chat agrees with you that Poe Belter is trash.
That person I like because
I mean, the motherfucker's name is Eugene. When's the last time a Eugene ever did anything?
I mean, that comes from eugenics, right? That's where that name came from.
Oh shit, that would have been a much better name for him.
If that was his, I would have liked him then, probably.
So bad.
All right, I think we're good, Zil. I think
all right, friends.
Do we have a Patreon person to shout out?
Justin Bieber.
Oh, I like it. I didn't know he was a fan.
But come to Discord, people. There's been a ton of activity in Discord recently.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting community.
We stormed the Capitol. Meet us in Washington, D.C., January 20th. The League of Legends get together. It's going to be fucking amazing. We're going to take America. We're going to make it great.
Just on Parlor.
By the Applebee's on 34th and Washington Street.
Thought it was the IHOP, but you know.
Antifa's mean at the IHOP. That's where they're giving out the soup cans.
That's fair enough.
Bring your twisted tea.
All right, boys.
With that.
Yeah, but community game nights are happening all the time now, but we normally do them on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time. But you can catch in-houses, 5v5s all the time if you just come out and hang out in the Discord.
For any governmental agency, including the FBI, CIA, or NSA, please understand that my comments were purely joking, and I am not actually meeting with people to storm the Capitol. I do not intend to overthrow or usurp the government in any way, shape, or form. I want to keep my law license. Thank you very much.
That's and if you happen to play a game with Sniffed, this is exactly how he is throughout the entire game. So,
I have way more inappropriate humor. I only worked in a prostitute once. Like, this is like a.
That's like an ARAM, you know.
Yeah. Skill gap. Take us out of here. Get me out of here.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
I'll have to text Blake to make him end the session.
That was a good one. That was bad.
Yeah, for sure. I
hope you didn't mind us like hijacking. I had no idea what.
I
really didn't either.
This is a big part of League of Legends that I just can't care about anymore. So I'm glad you guys follow along and know something about it. It might be why you're better at the game than me. I don't know.
No.
So.
It's because we are not attached to Teemo.
Oh, that's true.
It's because like during the professional league broadcast, they give like rebates on boosting services, so we get the coupons.
Yeah, it really helps me out.
All right, we done?
Yeah,
we're done. We're done.
So hit stop then.
In the name of love.
All right.
Before you break my heart.
My wave has been generated.
All right.
Do I leave session? What do I hit? It says I'm not recording.
What? Okay, so you guys got some comments.
From whom?
DeGray 425.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
What in tarnations is this? Very first one. Poe Belter is trash. I agree.
Good.
You said Poe Belter is trash?
I did. I fucking hate Poe Belter. I think he's terrible.
Yeah, well.
It is what it is.
What the fuck is OBS virtual camera and why did it ruin my camera here?
Y'all up for a norm?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm gonna go to bed.
Oops.
There it is.
I accidentally